Nostana Anna Maria. Anna Maria.
Welcome back. So I've been fasting, intermittent fasting for this program. And it's also because it's coming up on the Feast of Mary Magdalene, which is also my birthday. And it's a very spiritual and yet it's a different energy that comes through every year for me. And it's almost like another level of initiation. So I take this time to create sacred space and to honor my body and allow for the purity of my body to come through, so that whenever the energy needs to come through, it will. And when you do fast, the energy of the cosmos, source, God, comes through in a more clear way. So there's less impurifications to be released. And you'll find that when you do intermittent fasting, even using the oils is a lot more deeper and delicious and juicy. So I suggest you look into intermittent fasting if you're not doing it already, and try to understand the importance of it, because I'm not going to go into that here. However, I found that it would be important to mention so that you would have a better experience with the oils. So speaking of sacred space is quite important when you use the oils. Now, we don't live in ancient Egypt and we're not practicing in temples anymore. So it's important to create the sacred space when you are dealing with people, and also when you're working with the oils on yourself. And so sacred space can be simply anything. A sacred space could be outdoors, but it's how you set up the energy and the dimensions of the space. And the reason why I say the dimensions is because every oil has a vibration, and so you want to meet the vibration of the oil to the vibration of the space, and then eventually the being can start to vibrate to the energy and the oil. And this is why I relate to each oil as a being. First, you're dealing with the plant, because the plant itself is the being, but then the oil is the essence of the plant in just a physical form. So you're just dealing with the essence of the plant. So understanding that makes you feel like it is quite important to have that sacred space, not just the ritual, but also the sacred space. And how can you do that? So there's a few ways. You can, simply by being meditative, allows for the energy to shift in the space. So that's the first thing. And by singing prayer, by doing hymns, also changes the vibration of the space. So this is why those things are quite important when you set up the sacred space. Other ways of doing it is to light candles for the space. You can also burn some incense, or and allow for the energy of the air, of the quality of the air to have that scent. And sage is probably one of your best, or Palo Alto. These are two really powerful incense burning. You can also burn sandalwood, which is amazing as well. And this is something that they burn in churches at this time. So the sandalwood helps you clear the energy of the air, and sage helps you, and Palo Alto have the same qualities, and they help you clear any entities or beings in the space. Other things you can do, you can play music, Instead of singing hymns, you can play sacred sounds and music. You can play pure frequency sound, which is 532 hertz. You can find it online, or you can buy a CD, or you can also do crystal bowl healing with, you change the frequency with the crystal bowl. It doesn't have to be the whole time. You can just simply play it for 2 to 5 minutes, and it already shifts the energy of the space. You can lay flowers around, and the vibration of the rose is the highest frequency. So you may want to choose a rose, especially the red rose. Other things you can do is you can take another essential oil, put it in a bottle with water, with purified water, and spray it around the room. You can also have triangles, and that actually breaks the energy of the room. And so when you click on the triangle, that will help you clear the energy of the room as well. Some people have crystals. Some people have pictures of high beings. It's all what you resonate with, and how you feel that the space needs to relate to the ritual. So as a priestess, you set up the room, you set up the space. Again, it can be outdoors. You set up the space how you want it to be. So there was a point that one time I set up the outdoor space with sticks, and I created a pyramid out of sticks from the woods. Another time I had everyone bring a rose, so that they would literally hold the rose throughout the ceremony, and that was in itself they were holding the vibration of the rose. I'm trying to think what else I did. Some of you might use feathers, and feathers is amazing because it helps the movement of the oil, of the scent. So you can fan it. You can fan the oil, and this is of course very shamanistic, extremely shamanistic. But everything that I'm mentioning right now is very shamanistic. You can dress differently, maybe with crystals or flowers on you, and maybe you want to do it to the person that you're healing as well. It's an adornment of the beings that are involved with the oils, and they appreciate that, especially if there's a pure intention. And when we talk about pure intention, you also want to create a sacred space with less ego. And the heart, the place of the heart, the intention of the heart is probably the most important aspect of the entire ceremony. And so when you want to help heal someone, your intention must be pure of heart. And the way you want to do that is it can be very easy, but it can also be very complicated, depending on where you are. So if you need more time to deal with your own clarity, then I suggest not to work on that person with the oils. That you need to go and clear your mind, clear your heart, clear your energy field. And so that intention is probably the most important for the sacred space. And there are certain different ways of clearing your own energy field. Of course, one is meditating. The other one, it could be singing hymns. Another one could be doing mantras. And some people are like, well, what a mantra is of Hindu culture, but mantra is also doing a Hail Marys. So if you want, you can do that as well. And Hail Mary is quite powerful. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, she was a Mary, so she is a sister of that lineage. And then also, it's not just it's not just calling Mary of the mother of Yeshua, but it's Mary Magdalene as well. And that reason is because she bared children herself, and she bared the Christed children herself. So that's a very powerful mantra to do before you want to clear the room or set up a sacred space. And you could even do it with the person that you want to heal. You could even do an Our Father, or you can do whatever prayer or mantra resonates with you and the person that needs the healing. So, with that said, I want you to really think about how you're going to set that up. It's a interesting and yet complicated understanding of all these things that you need to do. It sounds like a lot of work, but once you get into the rhythm of things, then it's very easy. So here's a good example. If you really want to do things on the fly without doing all the work, so it's really important, if you know you're going to use the oils, which I do every single day, just do a prayer upon them every single day. Okay? You could even do a prayer upon them once a week if you want, and you set that intention, because guess what? We are living in a timeless reality, so it doesn't matter, how you set the intention. It's really how your state of mind, how you connect to the oils is what's most important. So if you want to do it once a week, that's fine too. And so setting up that prayer and opening ceremony for once a week, that's fine. And when you want to do things on the fly with people, you're not in a temple, you haven't set up the sacred space, you haven't done the prayer, you can simply just take 5 minutes and hold the oil, set it to your heart, closing your eyes, of course breathing it in, and then opening up the bottle, breathing it in as much as you like, holding it to your heart. If you want, you anoint yourself with the oil so that you become one with the oil. And I'm going to do that now. And so this is tea tree oil. So tea tree oil is an oil that works with any part of the body. I call the tea tree oil the body oil, and it's because you can really use it anywhere in the body, including internally. So I want you to place the tea tree oil somewhere where you feel like you might need it the most. And I'm going to put the tea tree oil on the top of my head, right in the middle. And then I'm going to do this. So this is going to create a oneness with me in the oil. So I said the Isis prayer and the Our Father, and it's done. And so then you can allow for the quick healing to happen. And of course, the person that is with you might say, "What are you doing?" And you just say, "This is what I do before I place the oil on you." And this is the difference between a mare bearer and a person that uses essential oils for aromatherapy or some sort of healing, but we know physical healing, but we know that it's much more than the physical healing. We need to connect to the spirit, the nous. ourselves and of the oil. So now that you have that training, it's important to show others that you are connecting to the oils on a much deeper level. And it's a much different experience. And it starts with you. It starts with you. You are the example of how to treat the oil. And then once they see the respect that you have for the oil, they will have the same respect. And if the person is not able to understand or is showing some sort of disrespect for you or the oil, I highly suggest not to use it upon them. And it sounds a bit harsh, but they're not ready for it. And when they will call upon you, and they will call upon the oils. So, with that said, tread lightly on how you treat people with the oils. Make sure they really want to connect to you as a healer, and they really want to receive the healing. Because some people are comfortable not being healed. And before you actually get there, you need to talk to them about that. And this is where the empathy comes. As a Merfolk, we start to become more and more empathetic. And some of you already are. And I'm the type of empath that I can literally feel the pain that they have within their body or their spirit or their mind in my own self when I connect to people, when I become one with people. And this is the kind of level of priestess that you want to be. And again, some of you are already there. So you just don't want to be empathic in the way that there's emotion coming through when the person is revealing something that's painful to them. You also want to be, or you are sensitive to people's feelings. You also want to be sensitive in your own body, in your own energetic field, and of course in all of the chakras, their energy points, of which can become one with the other. So we're going to go through that a little bit deeper, and then we'll go deeper into the usage of the tea tree oil. So the body is made up of different levels of healing. And the reason why I mention this is because the oil works on these 4 different dimensions. And it goes from the 3rd dimension all the way up to the 6th dimension. And I want to talk about those dimensions because it relates to our energy field, but also our physical body. So in the 3rd dimension, there is the physical body, and this is called the makuth. And the makuth is where we feel matter. This is where the importance of the oil touching our body is important, is essential, because the oil can speak to you from a distance, but if you aren't allowing for the oil to touch you, you are unable to connect to it on these higher realms. So when the oil actually is placed onto your body or internally, you then are going to feel into the 4th dimension. And the 4th dimension is the vital body, and this is also called the yesod. And the yesod is that space where you're in between dimensions, between the 3rd and the 5th. And that means that in this 4th there is spirit. And spirit is is reaching out, is pouring out. And this is where actually the nous lives. The nous is here, and this is where when people start to feel like they're about to pass, they're in their heart chakra, and the fourth chakra is the heart chakra. And when they feel the energy of the heart chakra, which is where the soul resides, they can feel the spirit of the soul. And so it's important that you consciously connect to the oils in the way that you can feel spirit within you merging with the spirit of the soul, of the oil. The next level is the fifth dimension, and this is also the astral body and the mental body. So the fifth dimension is also the fifth chakra, and that fifth chakra is the throat chakra. There's also a chakra between the fifth and the fourth, a more infamous chakra that is coming to people's awareness now, and that's the thyroid chakra, the thymus chakra, and that is right above the heart chakra. And this thymus chakra is something that we'll talk about when we use frankincense more. And frankincense and the thymus chakra are pretty much one and the same vibration. But the fifth dimension, throat chakra, is connected to your vocal cords and your breath. So this is where the mental body can start to feel into the pain and the emotions. So you can start to speak to the emotions. This is where some people might actually cry, or they might release a sound through pain, or they might verbalize some things that are coming through. And in the astral body, the hood, which is the astral body, the nitzak is the mental body, and these are absolutely connected. And it's because when the oil is touching on that dimension, it's allowing for you to see things from a higher place, from the higher self. And so that's why it's touching on the astral body. And some of you might relate to the astral body when, for example, you're meditating or you're sleeping and then you have dreams. So this is a good example of that. But it could also just mean that you feel like a sensation within the body that's tingling, or heat or coldness, and that is already a shift into the fifth dimension. And then finally the sixth dimension, and that's the causal body, and that's the tifreth. The tifreth is where you start to connect to your third eye, and that's when you receive visions. And this is, of course, connected to the pineal gland. This is connected to the brows, and this chakra is highly connected to the frankincense, which we'll use later. So the other oils, peppermint, tea tree oil is definitely a fifth dimensional oil. It's a fourth dimensional oil. And peppermint is a third dimensional oil. And eucalyptus is also a fourth dimensional oil. So these oils connect to the vibration of the dimension. So when using them, think about it in that way as well. If you're not using it for physical healing and you want to do some sort of Reiki or energy work on people, if you want to ground, you want to use something like peppermint, or even grounding could also be in the fourth dimension as well. It's in between, so you want them maybe to relax so that they're not so grounded, and but so the tea tree and the eucalyptus is a great oil for them to be here and a little bit there. So also think about the oils in that way, so that you can start to use them in a spiritual way more so than in a physical way. So the spiritual is also as important as the physical. And then when using other oils like frankincense and myrrh and spikenard, then you start to hit the other dimensions. And when you hit the other dimensions, then you have to be careful, because again, you yourself or your client might not be ready for that. So you really want to take caution on how you initiate them into the oils. So you can always start with these grounding oils and then move them up into the more higher vibrational oils. So the usages of the tea tree oil are very all-encompassing of the body. And I call this the body oil. And so the body oil or the tea tree oil, is something that you can use on different parts of the body. You can also drink tea tree oil with a concoction of honey, 1 drop of tea tree oil, and hot water for the lungs. If you have some sort of infection in the lungs. So make sure you stir the concoction. It's really important because you don't want it to get stuck on your lips when you drink the concoction. So some of the things that you can use the tea tree oil is, for example, if you have some sort of skin infection. So it could be anything from like eczema, skin fungus, dandruff, nail fungus, athlete's foot. It can also help with like abrasions, but not directly on the abrasion. So you want to use a base oil, such as sesame oil, coconut oil, jojoba oil. You can use it for mosquito bites. You can use it for deodorant. So you can put in a spray bottle with just water and a few drops of tea tree, shake it up and spray it underneath. You can use it for psoriasis, acne, um, cold sores. Trying to think what else. This is also really good for not only fungal infections or skin infections, it's also good for viral infections as well. So when you have some sort of like flu or something, coronavirus, you can use it as well. I suggest oregano oil before the tea tree oil, but the tea tree oil is one step underneath the oregano oil in regards to viral infections. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, you can also use it as a hand sanitizer. So again, putting it in water and then spraying it on your hands, bug repellent. You can use it for banishing mold. You can use it for washing clothes, disinfectants. I'm trying to think what else to use. Oh, this is amazing if you have toothache. Amazing. So you can just use the oil, put it on your finger, and place it on the spot that you have the infection, or an infection or a toothache. So some people have asked me if it's good for children when they start to have their teeth come in. I wouldn't use it on babies. It's a little too pungent for the baby, and you don't want the baby to be uncomfortable in that way. But what you can do is, if you want, you water it down, again with the base oil, and you just do one drop, and you can put like 10 milliliters of base oil in a bottle, and then one drop of oil of the tea tree oil, and you shake it, and then you can put it on your finger and move it around in the gums. What else can you use this? There's just so many. It's really good for the scalp. Again, I think I mentioned peppermint is also really good for the scalp, but the tea tree oil, even better. It's another level of helping it actually stimulates the follicles of the hair, so it's great for hair growth as well. And I think I've covered it pretty much. Tea tree oil, if you want to use it for aromatherapy, it's amazing because it disinfects the air. It's not like the most pleasant or relaxing scent, but you can use it for if there's like some sort of scent, like for example mold, or some sort of scent like maybe like an outdoor smell or something that doesn't feel comfortable. You can use tea tree oil to disperse that scent, because it not only helps with the smell of it, but it disinfects the bacteria in the air, because it is indeed good for your lungs. So these are the amazing usages of tea tree oil. And what's great about the oil is that you really feel the earthiness of this oil. And because it's the body oil, so the earthiness of the oil connects you to the roots, but then somehow it allows for you to reconnect to your physical body as a whole, and not just like from one piece. When using the peppermint or the eucalyptus oil, it's a little bit different when you're using the tea tree oil. The tea tree oil kind of takes over. So I place the one drop of tea tree oil on the top of my head, and I'm starting to feel like a veil of energy coming down to my body. And if you try it, you might feel the same. But it's a relationship that you build with the oil. So at first, when I used tea tree oil, it was more on the physical plane, and now it's on a it went into the etheric, and now I'm starting to feel more into the higher dimensions. So this is the information on the tea tree oil. I hope you enjoyed this oil, and it's definitely one to put in your cabinet.